Hey guys, Steve here for another one. Something slightly different today. Just doing a comparison between iRacing and ACC. So we're in the Porsche Cayman GT4 on Donington Grand Prix. Just did an outlap. I'm going to do an outlap on both, and then we're going to do a flying lap. I say flying lap, it's me we're talking about, so yeah, it's not going to be flying, but we'll be putting a bit of effort in. So I'm actually doing voiceover for a change rather than doing it live. Excuse me. So two very different sims, games, whatever you want to call it. Two very different force feedback systems and handling. If you're not aware, iRacing is touted as one of the best simulators. A lot of professional racing drivers use it to hone their skills, practice for upcoming races. And ACC, or the full name is Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's touted as probably the best GT3 sim out there. Since it had its initial release, it's had many updates and DLC releases, one of which is the GT4s. So here we are on our first flying lap in iRacing. Not quite sure what I'm going to be saying. Again, down here it's a little bit sketchy, as you can see. It's understeering a little bit. Here again, I think I carried too much speed in and got a bit overzealous with the accelerator. It's relatively alright apex for that one. The car feels very planted in iRacing, don't get me wrong. The traction control doesn't really kick in. So in iRacing, the traction control is either on or off, whereas ACC, you've got different levels of traction control, and as you'll see throughout the laps for ACC, I actually reduced the traction control down so it was completely off. Might have been a slight mistake doing that. Let's see how much traction we get coming out of this. A little bit of traction control. It's good traction overall coming out. And last corner. Not bad apex. I'd say it was reasonable. And we didn't get time because I had an off track. So I can't unfortunately compare the times. Right, here we are in ACC for a lap of Donington Grand Prix in the same car. Trying to keep it as apples to apples for the comparison, because you got like the balance of performance, which both simulators have their own versions of, just to try and keep it fair. Now what I did notice on ACC is on this outlap, you can probably hear it as well, it's a lot more slippy. As you can see there, the back end's trying to step out a little bit, it was just sliding a little bit. And as you can see on screen, you've got blue tyre indicators, which means they're cold. You don't notice it as much with iRacing as you do with this. But again, they're two completely different sims with two different time models, two different handling models, if that's what you call them. Yeah, they've both, if you notice, they've got completely different graphic styles as well. iRacing uses their own graphics engine, whereas ACC uses the Unreal Engine. I haven't got a massively powerful computer, so it's not running on anywhere near max settings on either of them, to be fair. Excuse me. As you can see, I've just turned the traction control down to 2. It was originally on 5. Ready for our flying lap. So here we are. Not bad. You see the traction control was trying to kick in, and I've now just turned the traction control off. So as you can see, I've got a slightly better line through the craning curves and the old hairpin. I feel personally you have to be a little bit more gentle with the throttle on iRacing. I've learned over the years that if you just mash the throttle, like you can do with things like this or the old project cars, it spins if you try and do that. These are a lot more forgiving. I suppose iRacing's a lot more forgiving in other ways as well. Completely messed up line through there, so wide, and again, no traction control, too much, and I started to spin, but very catchable. iRacing, not so much catchable. If you're going in iRacing, you're going, whereas ACC, you're pretty safe. So that was the flying lap of Donington in ACC.